I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get a no call to quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve, strap, shield my greed. That's how I get it. Success ain't no giving. Some days I don't eat, I don't sleep. When I'm focused, I'm dangerous. Down, wonder when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank. I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze. The roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag. I know that's because I've been in it. I don't need to brag. I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business. But some family, you do the math. I'm out of my pocket. Houston, we got a problem, man. Perfect, let them watch me. Elevating, got them nauseous. Cause I'm the pilot in the cockpit. Nose diving in the option. Woo! Watch out, get ahead. Watch out, get ahead. Watch out, get ahead.
It's time! Welcome to DFS by the Numbers with your host, Brady.
Better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers and welcome to UFC 281 Best Bet. We have Israel Adesanya going against Alex Pereira. We have a 14-fight card banger. I'm looking forward to every single one of these fights. There's not a fight that I'm going to be missing this week. It just feels good. You know, the last 2 weeks we've had some kind of weird cards. We had Ramona Pascual, Tamara's Vidal last week. None of that bullcrap this week. 14 great fights, and I'm here with 3 great guests. We got Lou, we got Eric, and we got Luke. We'll start with you, Lou. What is up? Glad to have you back on the channel. It's been a while.
Yeah, I think the last time I was on, I was moderating. I think you might have been on your honeymoon. Very much looking forward to this card. I have way too much money invested, betting and DFS wise. I think it's the most I've ever spent on lineups in my life. So, yeah, talk to me tomorrow and let's see how I'm doing. Pray for Lou.
Pray for Lou, everybody. We got Eric as well. Eric, what is up? You looking forward to the card?
Yeah, dude, very much so. What's kind of cool is that it's the UFC's birthday today. UFC 1 was 29 years ago today, so they put together a banger of a card. I don't know if it was an accident or not, but I'm going to pretend it wasn't. And now that I've heard how much Lou has going on, I'm going to follow along with his bets. Should make for a fun day. But yeah, it's a banger of a card. Going to be a good time.
Let's go. Last but not least, we got Luke. Luke, what is up? You looking forward to UFC 281?
Yeah, dude, I'm stoked. I think it's a pretty good card top to bottom. And betting-wise, I got to think probably one of my bigger slates of the year. It's like as I kept going through the overall card, it's like I just kept finding things. Even as the week progressed, you know, I was kind of waiting for certain moves. Then the moves came, so I'm like, it's either probably going to be feast or famine for me. So let's go ahead and chop it up, bro.
Yeah, I think it's that way for a lot of people like me as well. I have a ton of bets on this card. So it's either going to be a really good night or a really good bad night. Hopefully it's a really good night, though, and hopefully we all line up on a lot of these spots. We got the GOAT, Tajik, in the chat with the $4.99. Appreciate you, the GOAT. And we got another one as well, Tajik, $4.99. And then another one, shout out to the GOAT, Tajik Bey. He was on Pub Sports on Sunday. He had to send like 80 donations. So shout out to Tajik. Let's see if he can have another big night. I think he hit like 30,000 last week, something crazy like that. So shout out to him. But I say we get into it before we do. So if you guys can all please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are not already. I also did link down Luke's Twitter and YouTube. I linked down Lou's Twitter and YouTube. And then I linked down Eric's Twitter and YouTube, all in the description. Go check them out, follow them, and subscribe to all of their stuff. All right. I say we get into it, guys. 2 rules. We're going to use current lines. I'll just refresh this so we're completely up to date. And then the other rule is no passing, but I don't think there's any fights that should be worth passing on in this card. I think it's a great card. Okay, we have Carlos Ulberg going against Nikolai Negumereanu. Lou, we will start with you. What are you liking in this first fight of the night?
Let me just preface it by saying I'm 0 for Ulberg in his career in the UFC. So this is a hard fight for me. Negumereanu has been good to me traditionally, but he's so hittable. And Ulberg, I mean, yeah, he didn't really expend his cardio against Charant, but he looked great last fight. He's very accurate. He's precise. So the knockout at plus 195 on FanDuel, it's what I see as the most logical outcome here. If this thing gets extended, though, I don't think he's got to get that knockout early, probably first 8-9 minutes, or Negumereanu could take over. But give me Ulberg for the KO plus 195.
Ulberg KO plus 195. Yeah, for me, it's a weird. I don't have a bet on this fight, which is weird because I have a bet on the other 12 fights. I don't have a bet on the first two, but this is one where I was kind of tempted on the over 1.5 rounds earlier in the week. It's now like minus 162 best price, minus 156. I think I would still go that route, but like you said, Lou, Negumereanu, his striking defense is just horrendous. I think on paper it's like 39%, which, it's not good. And obviously Oberg does hit hard, but he is very tough. He has a brick for a head. So I'm hoping he's able to last that 7.5 minutes. If it does get extended, like you said, I think it's going to be interesting. That's kind of where I'd look. The over 1.5, if anything, but I don't have a ton of interest in this fight, honestly. Eric, how about you? Are you liking anything for this first fight?
Yeah, I did actually take that over 1.5 that you just mentioned. Like, I don't feel super confident in how this fight's going to play out. I think either guy could potentially find a finish, but I see it likely happening later. I mean, we know Negumereanu can take a lot of shots. I think if Ulberg does find a finish, I see it being potentially one of those situations where he's got Negumereanu against the cage and is just like landing a flurry and the ref steps in for like a standing TKO. And if Negumereanu is able to get his grappling going and maybe find a finish on the ground, I feel like it happens after Ulberg is maybe tired a little bit. So hoping we get over 1.5 here.
Yep, I'm right there with you. Did not pull the trigger myself, but that was one that kind of stuck out earlier in the week. Luke, what do you like over this fight?
So I'm kind of on the other side in a semi-different scenario. I actually like the fight doesn't start round 3, minus 120, minus 144, depending on where you look, as kind of the general common consensus of the most likely outcome of the fight, at least for most people, is an early Ulberg knockout, which I'm kind of in alignment as well. But we still have pretty much little question on what his durability is really outside of the Kennedy fight. We still have incredible cardio questions with him. We don't even know if he can stop takedowns, really. We don't know what his defensive grappling is. Can he get up from bottom? And for better or for worse, Negumereanu is going to push him. He's going to come forward. He's going to be an agent of chaos. So, if that knockout doesn't come early, I think Ulberg's probably going to get either tired pretty early, or, we're just going to get a lot of those questions answered from a defensive perspective on the Ulberg side. So yeah, at just a short favorite price, I think both guys, perennial finishers, can finish this fight logically both ways. So I like the fight doesn't start round 3. Not paying too much juice for it.
Fight doesn't start round 3 for Luke. Yeah, I mean, I was also tempted on like the Ulberg money line, but like you said, there's a lot of question marks that I think are going to be answered. Like, what is Ulberg's takedown defense? What is his get up game? What does his cardio look like if it gets extended? So it's one I'm confident just passing on the first fight. We got some more donos here from Tajik. We got a $4.99. 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 And that's why he's the GOAT. That is why he's the GOAT. A lot of people are always like, why is Tajik called the GOAT? Well, it's right there. He supports the MMA community. Shout out to Tajik. John liking the over 1.5 round. Shaney liking Ulberg there. Sean liking the over as well. Not seeing a finish, but maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, it's an interesting fight. I think it's going to be a fun fight, but it's not a fight I'm really running to place any money on. Okay, we'll move on to the next fight. Another fight that I don't have a ton of interest from a betting perspective, but we have Montel Jackson going against Julio Arce. Eric, we'll start with you. Was there anything sticking out to you in this fight?
Yeah, I stayed away from this one myself. Jackson's like a 2-1 favorite here. And that does seem fairly accurate to me, I guess. I think he does have quite a few advantages here on paper. Arce's a popular dog at like plus 175. And I don't hate a shot on that. But what I ended up picking for my best bet here is this morning I saw Montel Jackson by sub at plus 800. I do think Jackson probably has the wrestling upside here. I do think he'll probably be able to get takedowns, and he will be looking for subs. Whether he finds one or not, I don't know. But plus 800 seems like a spot that's worth a little sprinkle there if you want to have some fun.
Jackson by sub is actually plus 1,050 on best pricer on Bet Rivers. So I could see it. He does have a sub before. He subbed Brian Keller, I think it was a club and sub. Man, for me, I don't know. I don't really like anything in this fight. It's one of those fights where I like Jackson, but I'm just not running to the window to lay minus 200 on him. I know you like that sub, Eric, but I think I'm going to go with the decision prop. And, Montel Jackson has a ton of power, but at the end of the day, he couldn't finish JP Vlismas, which kind of concerns me. And he was not able to finish Felipe Calorish after beating the crap out of him. He did finish Jesse Strader. He did finish Brian Kelleher, but I think Arce is very tough. I think he does hang in there. I think this fight could play out a lot closer than this line does indicate, especially if Arce is able to stuff the takedowns. But I'm kind of leaning that Jackson decision route, if anything. But again, it's not something I'm really passionate about this week. Luke, anything you like in this one?
Yeah, nothing official for me. But gun to my head for the purposes of the show, I do think Arce is probably the side at the current price. I just think there's a lot of questions on the Jackson side. I think Arce is easily the best striker that he's fought today. He's probably the best defensive striker, really good footwork. Even in the fights he's gotten beaten outside of, the few times he's been finished, which is obviously kind of the concern here. The wrestling upside does lie with Jackson, but Arce does stuff takedowns at like 94% or something crazy like that. Granted, I would also say Jackson is probably the best wrestler that Arce has fought. But nonetheless, man, I think it's still, Arce is still a battle-tested guy. Jackson just hasn't really proven much against very good guys. And I think he might just be able to kind of put on that gritty vet lesson type of thing if he doesn't get finished here. So gun to my head, I think Arce is the side.
Yeah, I don't hate that, honestly. Lou, how about you? What do you like for this fight?
I'm agreeing with you, Brady. I think Jackson's decision. I don't have any bets on this, and I'm not going to get there, but I think Jackson's decision is the logical outcome for me. Arce has been, if you look at his stats, he's more active, throws more strikes, also absorbs more strikes, but I feel like the reach advantage for Jackson's just going to really play out. I think this fight will be on the feet probably more often than not. I think the only way Jackson really going to go for takedowns is if he gets lit up a little bit, but I think Jackson get kind of 30-27 here to a not thrilling, but, decisive decision win here.
Yeah, kind of with you as well. But again, not a fight I'm looking forward to betting, but looking forward to watching, of course. And we got Tajik in the chat still throwing those donos. I think we might need to hit up YouTube support, see what's going on with Tajik. I'm kind of worried about him. Maybe the button got stuck. He keeps donating. But shout out to the GOAT. Shout out to 302 saying 180 watching, only 30 likes. Yeah, guys, let's get those likes up. 200 of 10 of you here now. Let's see if we can get to 100 likes by the end of the show. That'd be pretty awesome. So thank you guys for all the support and hanging out. We got Clint in the chat as well. What is up, Clint? How you doing? And of course, we got another $4.99 from Tajik. Shout out the GOAT. All right. Now we get into the fun stuff. This is where my action starts, and I have a bet on every single fight from here on out. So Michael Trizano going against Seungwoo Choi. Luke, let's start with you. What are you liking in this fight here? I think you're muted.
This is probably one of the tougher ones for me. I know everybody's in love with Choi. I kind of lean him in the fight. I don't really think there's any value at minus. I mean, I think all of that kind of sailed. I mean, if you were able to get on him early, I don't hate it. But at this price, it's honestly almost probably kind of leaning to Trizano. But the most likely outcome, I think, just generally, or from a betting perspective, I'd probably just go like fight goes the distance. Probably some hairy moments in there. We obviously saw Trizano get bonked in his last outing. Choi got dropped twice by Kulabao in the last one. So it's probably going to be like one of your blood pressure medication overs. But I do think this fight should hit the cards more often than not. So I'd probably just take out the variance of a side and rock with that.
Yeah, that line is getting steamed a little bit. I did see on DraftKings Sportsbook, they had like the double chance for Choi. It's a decision knockout at like minus 150, get the price down a little bit. I don't see Choi subbing anybody. For me, I'm just going to take a shot on that Choi by knockout plus 290 here for a couple reasons. I think these guys are going to stand and bang. I think this is a very underrated fight. And I think there's going to be a lot of exciting moments, a lot of exchanges. Michael Trizano dropped twice in his last fight. Got knocked out in his last fight, and Choi hits very, very hard. I don't see really either guy going for takedowns. Should Trizano go for takedowns? Yes, but we always say that, and he doesn't. I think these guys are going to trade, and I think Choi hits hard, and I think Choi puts him out. Michael Trizano came in with a hideous haircut. He's rocking that mullet again, and Seungwoo Choi came in with a very good haircut. He went away from that blonde hair, which I do like there. So I'm going to take a shot on that KO prop plus 290. I see a plus 250 out there, plus 270 on FanDuel. That's kind of how I'm playing because I'm with you, Luke. I don't love the money line at like minus 175, minus 170, but I'm just going to take a little shot on that KO. Lou, how about you? What do you like for this fight?
I've never been a big fan of Trizano. I think this is a big step down for Choi because I actually like Kulabao. I like his skill set. I think this is a big step down. Trizano's volume is pretty low. He seems to never really have a sense of urgency until late. And his striking defense isn't very good either. And I think it's not going to take much for Choi to get him out of there. So I like the KO prop, and I probably will get there right before the show. I don't have a current bet in yet, but and Trizano looked terrible yesterday on the scales too. So let me just get that out there too.
The mullet or the weigh-in?
Everything. And Choi's hair was super on point, which I think should go into the handicapping here. So give me Choi by KO. I do think with Trizano's horrible strike defense, like I said, this isn't like Dawodu peppering him. Like Choi could one punch him out of there.
Okay, fair enough. I'm with you. And then Eric, how about you? What do you like him?
Between the three of you guys, you honestly covered like every talking point I was going to say for this fight, so I don't really have anything to add. But yeah, as far as a bet, I would also go with that Choi by KO. Like I do think Choi should win here, but the line was starting to get wide enough that if I was going to go with the money line side, I might have been leaning Trizano. But yeah, if Choi by KO can be had for like plus 290, I'd probably go with that.
There we go. So me, Lou, and Eric liking the Choi KO. Luke liking the fight goes to decision. I think those are two pretty likely outcomes there. Justin in the chat saying, is over 1.5 a good play in the Nikolai fight? I like it. I think Eric likes it. Luke is actually on the violent side. Lou, what did you like the over 1.5 in that fight or no?
Not really. I like because I think if Olberg wins, it's going to be under that 7.5 minute mark.
Okay. So we're like 2-2.
But again, I cannot figure out an Olberg fight to save my life. So like,
Same.
just again, take that with the grain of salt.
Same. I'm right there with you. And then Clint's waiting for some yam bags as well, Luke. So maybe we'll get to some yam bags. We got Tajik still going with the donos here. Might have to hit up YouTube support. I'm not sure if he's okay or not. And then he also dropped a big one, a $49.99. Man, appreciate you, Tajik. The go to the community. This dude donated like 80 times on Sunday, and he's already at like 35. So appreciate you. It does mean a ton, man. All right, we'll keep moving on to the next fight. We have the people's main event. I know Lou's excited about this one. We have Silvana Gomez Juarez going against Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Eric, we will start with you. What do you like for this fight?
Yeah, it's a super close fight on paper, and I think I mostly agree with that. Like, I mean, Karolina lost like 5 fights in a row before her last win over Herrig, and I think that she looked as close as Karolina Kowalkiewicz gets to looking decent at 37 years old in her last fight. I thought it was a pretty decent performance, all things considered. Silvana Gomez Juarez is that rare 115-pound woman who actually has KO power. I lean toward thinking Gomez Juarez finds the KO here. I'm not sure what the best line on that is. I saw it on Bet Online for like plus 250. It's probably out there at a better number on like DraftKings or FanDuel. So I would potentially look for Gomez Juarez by KO. And if that doesn't happen, there's always the chance that Karolina finds a sub as well. So the under 2.5 at plus 110 is also something I don't mind here.
Yeah, Juarez by KO looks like it's still plus 300 on Bet Rivers there, and I'm going to go with the same thing. I think if she wins, it's by knockout. She hits very hard for a straw weight. I was talking last night. I mean, she has these cannons, like these absolute cannons in her fist. And if Karolina runs into one of those cannons, she can definitely go down. Karolina typically durable, but now 38 years old. She's taken a ton of damage. She gets hit a lot. She absorbs almost 6 significant strikes per minute. And like I said, if Juarez does hit her with one of those cannons in her fist, I feel like she could definitely go down. That's kind of how I'm playing it. I don't hate the under. The only concern is, Karolina doesn't typically grapple. I looked through, her entire career. She's only completed 2 takedowns in the last 8-9 years. So that was my concern with that. But I'm more so on the Juarez knockout side myself. Luke, anything for this fight?
Yeah, I don't have a particularly strong opinion here, but I guess I'm kind of I lean to the other side. I'll go Karolina by decision, which is anywhere between, plus 200 to plus 250. Depending on where you look. She's just largely been a decisionator throughout the course of her career. I know she snagged up the sub in her last outing. I know that Juarez has been submitted twice, but you kind of brought it up, Brady. That not a lot of people are talking about is that by and large, Karolina doesn't grapple. Even in the last fight where she snagged up the sub, she didn't actually even land a conventional takedown to do so. So I think the Karolina sub angle is a little bit overrated. It's still a chick fight at the end of the day. Juarez, tough Mexican chick. I think she's going to be hard to get out of there. I like Karolina, more battle-tested, tough, more volume, better in the clinch, better optics probably. So give me her by points.
So Luke is on the Karolina by points at plus 250 there. And then Lou, what do you like for this fight?
I mean, if you're coming off a knockout win of Brady's favorite fighter on the roster, Na Liang, got to just keep riding the KO prop here with Juarez. So I don't know, man. Kowalkiewicz has been pretty. She only been knocked out once. I mean, she's it's weirdly durable, I guess, for how much she gets hit, but she doesn't fight people that hit this hard typically. So Juarez KO, and I think Juarez KO round 1.
Round 1.
I'm on the under big, and I have way too much exposure in DraftKings on this fight as well. Like way too much, but I think the winner score is big.
So the round 1 KO is plus 700 right now. Best price. I like it. All right. And then in Boston, Nick saying the most handsome fighter. I don't know. There's not a ton of handsome fighters. I mean, last week we had Amanda Lemos. She's pretty handsome. But this week, I don't see anybody handsome. Lou, you see anybody handsome on this card?
Why am I the first person you asked about that? I mean, sure. Oldberg apparently is very handsome.
He's all right. I mean, what about Sung Choi is pretty handsome.
I mean, Trizano is not. I would say, yeah, I'm just going to avoid this question completely.
Yeah, that's probably smart. There's no handsome fighters on this card. We got Tajik still coming with the 499s, the 499s, the 499s, and the 99.99. This is by far the biggest dono I've ever got on the channel.
Jeez.
Appreciate you a ton, Tajik. And I believe he did a 99 on Pub Sports on Sunday as well. So shout out to Tajik. He's killing it. Hopefully have another monster night, man. I'll be watching.
Turman is a dime piece is awesome, by the way. That is probably the best handsome comment in the chat.
Who's a dime piece?
Turman is a dime piece.
Oh, I don't know about that one, but Probaholic saying this fight's gonna be hilarious. I actually agree with that. Voodoo saying Juarez finish all day. Die Hard saying Oberg is the only reason my wife will watch the fight card with me. There you go. Weili's pretty handsome. All right, let us keep moving on, guys. We have this fight is so good. Matt Frevola, Ottman Azaitar. It's pretty hilarious. Frevola's been on Twitter all week saying, I'm going to stand in the pocket and bang with Ottman Azaitar. He even did a poll. He said, whoever wins the poll, this is what I'm going to do. The poll was, I'm going to either stand with Azaitar or I'm going to wrestle. And the votes were in favor of him standing and banging. So I think he might have something to do with this line movement because Ottman Azaitar went from minus 125. It was about a pick 'em. It was plus money for a while, and then now he's minus 155. So massive line movement here. And I'll start with you, Luke. Do you agree with the line movement? Is there anything really sticking out here?
So I am pretty much against the grain of everybody this week. I actually played Frevola primarily because a little birdie told me that this whole thing is a gimmick and he's going to go out there and wrestle within the first minute of the fight from a pretty reputable source. So I think it's all bullshit. People are clearly buying into the fact that he's going to go out there and stand and bang. Who knows? Like anything can happen, but from what I've been told, he's going to go out there and wrestle. And if he does, I really do not think he should be an underdog in this fight if that's the game plan that he takes. So small pop for me, because even if he does, Homeboy could get back up and still take his head off by any means. But I mean, I've seen Azaitar slow. I've seen Azaitar get hurt before, despite him being undefeated. That chin is there to be hit too. His defensive grappling and wrestling is just incredibly untested. I think Frevola is much better. You get Frevola on his best day, he can go out there and walk a guy like Jalen Turner like a dog. So give me intelligent Frevola at plus money.
Man, I'm so curious to see if he's going to wrestle or if he's going to stand and bang. I kind of have a feeling he's going to wrestle. Like, there's no way, but you never know with Matt Frevola. Luke, what do you like for this fight here?
I'm terrified because I'm on the Ottman side here, but man, it's just one of those just old-timey betting instincts where there's so much money coming in on him that I hate my bet. I don't know that he has decision equity. I think his win condition is KO. This thing gets extended. And if Frevola does go to any amount of wrestling, I don't know that I like Azaitar's cardio. I don't love it, especially late. Frevola's cardio has been pretty good when he makes it that far. The problem is, will he make it that far and not get bonked? So I'll stick by my guns. I'm going to stick with Ottman KO, but I'm nervous about it with this movement. All week is just steady steam. And I will say that these fighters being on Twitter all week in a fight week, dude, get off. Just go. You got a fight coming up, man. Go train. It's great you're engaging with us, but go train, dude.
Yeah, I agree. I guess I agree. I know Nate Maness was on Twitter all week last week, and he got finished in the first round. So maybe that happens here. For me, I am going with that Azaitar first round. I have serious concerns if it gets out of the first round, because if it gets out of the first round, that probably means that Frevola did go out there and wrestle. But this is kind of how I'm playing it. I hate the money line. Plus 280 for the first round. I mean, this guy has 10 first round finishes out of his 13 wins or so. So I think that's how he wins. I think it's in the first round. I think if Frevola does go out there and stand and bang, he's in for a very, very rough night and a very short night. But yeah, Frevola, I might be looking at this from a live betting standpoint. If he goes out there and wrestles, I might take a live shot on Frevola as soon as I see him wrestle. It's just, does he wrestle or not is a big question. That's kind of what makes this fight so tough to call. Eric, what do you like for this fight here?
Yeah, I did put a little on Azaitar by KO round 1. I got it at plus 350, but as you said, it's dropped a little bit now. But somebody in the chat just said that if Frevola wrestles, he's the best bet on the card, and I think I agree with that. So, like you said, I think this is a perfect live betting spot, tailor-made live betting spot. Azaitar is going to come out and do what Azaitar does. He's either going to find the finish or he's not, and if he doesn't, we'll probably get an even better line on Frevola going into round 2. And I think it becomes pretty likely that Frevola takes over the fight at that point if Azaitar doesn't find that early finish.
It looks like Azaitar round 1 KO is still plus 320. I just went with the round 1.
Nice.
Yeah, round 1 KO.
Gotcha.
Plus
Yep.
Chasing big hits is on the Frevola sub, a plus 700, saying it's silly. Luke, any love for that sub? You think you can sub him or no?
I think he could. Especially if he's tired. I mean, it's hard to really, plant your flag and say anything definitively because we've just seen so little of Azaitar on bottom. But so what his defensive grappling is, I don't know. But assuming Frevola is doing what he needs to do to win the fight, he's putting him in the ringer, he's putting him on his back. So I don't hate a pop on it.
Plus 700, I think it'd be worth a sprinkle there. Papa Chuck saying, being that I live in Idaho, I'm all over the potato man. There we go. DXJC saying Frevola needs to wrestle within the first 5 seconds. Otherwise, the lights are getting shut out. I mean, yeah, McKinney did it in 7. So we'll have to see. I cannot wait for this fight. I can't wait to see how it plays out there. Jerry saying Azaitar first round KO. I'm with you there. All right. And we will move on to the next fight. We have probably my least favorite fight on the card, and I actually do have a bet on this fight. I took the shot on Wellington Turman. Do I feel great about it? No. How could you ever feel great about a shot on Wellington Turman? But I mean, the price just doesn't make a ton of sense to me. I'm still not completely sold on Andre Petroski. I'm not sold on his cardio. I know he's winning fights in the 3rd round, but I mean, look who he's beating. Zhang, Michael Gilmore. This guy's providing zero resistance. I think Turman's going to provide a little bit more resistance, and we've seen when he's been met with some resistance, he has been finished. He got finished in the Jeffrey fight, got finished in the Brian Battle fight, and I can kind of see a Turman potential late finish here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the Turman 3rd round prop, and Turman to win in round 3 is like plus 1,600, plus 1,700, and I will also do the Turman round 3 sub, which is like plus 2,600 plus 2,800. I think it's live. Turman's a black belt in BJJ. I hate the cardio of Petroski. I could see him having success early. I just don't know if he's going to be able to have success across 15 minutes. And is he going to finish Turman early? I mean, maybe, but it took him almost 15 minutes to finish both Zhang and Michael Gilmore. So, don't feel great about it, but I am on the Turman side. I'm going to take the 3rd round props there. Eric, what do you like for this fight?
Yeah, I like those 3rd round props that you're pointing out. Like I have a lot of the same feelings about this fight that you mentioned. Petroski obviously is very physical, very dangerous early, but he's a guy that slows down. He doesn't death gas and completely fall off, but I think, by even toward the end of round 1, sometimes he just becomes a lot less explosive, a lot less powerful, just a lot less effective overall. He slows down quite a bit. He's still going for it, but he just doesn't really have it anymore. But yeah, I think, I like Petroski inside the distance, which I think sits at like plus 115 or so. But I also feel the same way about this fight as the last fight we were talking about, where I think it's a good live betting spot because Petroski's likely going to come out like a bat out of hell, like he does, probably going to have a good round 1, but he's probably going to become less effective after that. So we can let Petroski do Petroski things, let the line on Turman get a little better, and then potentially bet him live going into round 2 or later in the fight.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I think Petroski has a very good chance of winning the 1st round. I'd actually be shocked if he didn't win the 1st round. Luke, what do you like for this fight?
Yeah, I don't like this fight overall. I'm not a fan of both guys at all. I have big issues with the games of both guys. But ultimately, what I came away with saying is I think the fight just comes down to Petroski is a good wrestler and Wellington Turman is a horrible wrestler. And I think that's just the primary difference here. In the fight, I could see Petroski definitely finishing him. We've obviously seen Turman get knocked out in the guard. Bruno Silva, we saw him get knocked out by Andrew Sanchez, who's not a historic power puncher. So Petroski finishing wouldn't surprise me really at all. But terms of value, Petroski by decision is like plus 380 on FanDuel. I think he's the more likely party to win the minutes here. Like you said, the last couple finishes have came in the third round. The guys, it's taken him a while to finish, are actually worse than Turman. So actually, this is how I would go about it.
Yeah, it makes sense. Petroski decision plus 380, and then Lou, what do you like for this fight?
Well, you stole a little bit of my thunder because you and I talked about this early in the week, but Turman round 3 and round 3 submission for the brilliant logic that 2 fights ago for the Gracie Gym, they were undefeated. And then Sabatini loses round 1, and then Brady loses round 2. So the logical conclusion is that Petroski loses round 3 here at crazy odds. I also have this fight bet to end in the third round either way at 6-1 on DraftKings. And y'all been waiting for it. Here's your Jam Bag special. There's no better fight on this card that screams weird shit than this fight. So I'm planting my flag on the Yam Bags here. And it's switch versus orthodox. So the wheezy science of the open stances still plays here.
I like it. Yeah, you got the wheezy science there. And yeah, like you said, it's like a weird fight. I could definitely see some Yam Bags here. So yeah, I like it. We got a Yam Bag. We got the Turban round 3. I like it, Lou. Justin saying he went 2 units on a Turman. Yeah, I went a half unit. And I'm even terrified about that. Probaholic saying don't lay minus 210 on Petroski. Probaholic saying he's on the fight to end by submission plus 170. The 90s is on that Petroski decision. Let's see if I missed anything here. And we'll talk about that Molly fight very soon, Justin. All right, let us keep moving on. Everybody's going crazy about the Yam Bags, so I like it. Okay, we'll move on to the next.
It's a cultural phenomenon.
It is.
Really.
Taking the world by storm. All right. So Blanchfield, McCann. We got Blanchfield minus 410. Molly McCann is plus 310. Yeah, I'll kick this one off. I went with the fight doesn't go to decision, and for a couple reasons here. It's around plus 134, plus 135. The first reason, first and foremost, Molly McCann's been fighting lately like she's completely coked up. And we saw at the ceremonial weigh-ins, it's clear that she is going to be coming in this fight coked up. So on the feet, like I do favor Molly McCann. If Blanchfield was either to go out there and not get takedowns, I feel like Molly McCann could potentially get a knockout, or B, if Blanchfield went out there and pulled a Lupe Godinez and decided to not wrestle, I feel like Molly can get a knockout. But I feel like the more likely scenario is Blanchfield taking this fight down to the mat. I believe she's a black belt in BJJ. And I can see a TKO. I could see a submission. Molly McCann has been submitted before by a black belt in Jillian Robertson. My Siri went off. But yeah, I'm going to go with the fight doesn't go. I think it covers both sides. You got the coked up Molly McCann side, and then also Blanchfield. I think she's very live for a submission at some point in this fight. Fight doesn't go. Plus 134 is where I'm looking. Lou, what do you like in this fight here?
You missed a golden opportunity to say cocaine's a hell of a drug, man. But that's all right. That's what I'm here for, to say that. I know Luke appreciated that one. I mean, I think Blanchfield is going to take her down within the first 30 seconds. I think this could play out very similar to the Maverick fight. And I mean, McCann showed me we really haven't seen the last couple of fights, but like the Procopio fight, I just can't get out of my head. So I think this could be early and often takedowns. And I think in the distance, plus 200 for Blanchfield. I already have a bet on it. I think this is going to be one-way traffic, but I also think Blanchfield is the future champ. I like everything I've seen from her. So the big difference from Molly McCann's last 2 opponents in this one.
The cocaine doesn't worry you at all?
No, I mean, as somebody who like lives in Philly, I'm very familiar with what cocaine does to people. Gotcha. And I've seen tons of those people get knocked the F out in the street. So I'm really not worried about what's going to happen like in the cage.
Fair enough. I like
it. You asked, man.
No, I got you. Eric, how about you? What are you liking?
Yeah, I mean, it's all it takes is one look at the money line to see, how this fight should play out. I mean, Blanchfield probably will, get the takedowns, probably will ride out top control, maybe finds a finish. If not, should be a comfortable decision. But at plus 700, I did have to put a little something on Molly Speedball McCann by KO. So I think I put 0.1 unit on Molly by KO. Because if they do spend some time on the feet, I mean, Blanchfield, she does get hit. I don't know how her chin is necessarily, but Molly's going to be coming out there with those spinning elbows and whatnot. So I think there's a possibility it happens if they spend some time on the feet. So I did put a little on that.
It looks like it's a plus 900 on draft. It actually opened up at plus 1200 for that McCann KO. I kind of think
Wow.
that's how she wins. Luke, anything sticking out to you in this fight here?
Yeah, I'm actually going to join you, Brady. I'm on the under 2.5 as well. You kind of pretty much hit on all my main talking points. But I ultimately come down to the fact I think Molly McCann is just a horrible defensive wrestler. I think she's a horrible defensive grappler. Fighting a girl who's a good wrestler and who's a good grappler, in my opinion. I think with the amount of top time she's going to be able to get, Erin Blanchfield's never been a lay and pray type of girl on the ground. I know it hasn't always materialized to finishes, but based on what I've seen for Molly on the ground, I think Blanchfield gets her out of there. Like you said, if not, though, speedball Molly could bonk, it gives you that extra 5% base cover.
Yeah, I like it. All right, we're going to keep moving on, guys. Before we do so, 422 of you in here. If you all can please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are not already. And I also did link down Lou, Eric, and Lou and Luke, their channel. Luke has the club and sub. Lou is on the MMA Engine, and then Eric has his Eric Bets Fights, and I also linked their Twitters down as well. So go check them out and show them some love. But we have a very intriguing fight. We have Dominick Reyes going against Ryan Spann, and I will let you kick this one off, Luke. What do you like for this one?
Yeah, I think the best bet here, honestly, is the Dominick Reyes money line. I know a lot of people are going to be very concerned to sit there and lay over 2-1 on him. Year and a half long layoff. Knocked out brutally in his last 2 losses. But honestly, I think there's just a massive skill gap between both these guys. I don't think Ryan Spann is any good. He's got a little bit of pop in his right-handed and opportunistic guillotine, but he's not good. He's really not good anywhere. I think Reyes is incredibly live to nuke early. If not, I think pretty much all of the minute-winning equity lies with Dominick Reyes. I like him, moving out to the East Coast now to train with Glover and Pereira. So he's actually in a real camp for the first time in his whole career. I'm still of the opinion Reyes is a guy who beat John Jones at the same time. So anybody who can not only, in my opinion, beat John Jones, but compete with one of the best guys in the world, there is no reason why he should not absolutely walk Spann like a dog. So I ponied up and laid it with Reyes this week.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I am taking a different route. I'm just going to go with the under 1.5 rounds, around minus 110 around to pick him there. I think Reyes does knock him out in the very first round, but these guys are light heavyweights. Dominick Reyes has taken a little bit of a layoff. I do kind of question where his head's at, but yeah, if we get the best version of Dominick Reyes or anywhere near the best version, he should smoke Spann. I mean, it was just a couple of fights ago where Spann was like losing striking exchanges to Sam Alvey, getting hurt against Sam Alvey, getting dropped twice by Anthony Smith is a horrible look to me. And I think someone in the chat said it, like, I think it was DXJC, like Spann fights like he's terrified in there. Like that first round is going to be crazy. And I think Reyes does get the better of it, but I like the under 1.5, 7.5 minutes. I think it does go under there. Lou, what do you like over this fight here?
Yeah, I have the exact same bet here. I think Reyes to win. I looked at DraftKings. Reyes to win and under 1.5 rounds is the same fight parlay. Only pays plus 120. So it's not much of a difference for that. I mean, and then now you get the chance of does Spann get a takedown early? I mean, I guess he could get a flash sub here, but I don't really see it. There's, like Luke said it best, there's a humongous skill gap here. And if Reyes hadn't had a couple of losses recently, how big's this number? Is he minus 500 here? So I think there's a lot of value just taking the money line, but the under is good. And I mean, in a distance, Reyes is fine too, but I think the under 1.5 does give you both sides of the coin. This thing gets to late second, early third round. This may become a lot of comedy at this point. Like, I don't know what Spann's going to look like in the third round, and Reyes is getting up there in age too. Reyes also has to be careful. I mean, this will be 3 losses in a row, right? So at his age, you just never know. So I think he comes out and seals the deal early here, but under 1.5 to play.
All right, under 1.5. And then Eric, what do you like on this one?
Yeah, I don't mind that under 1.5 that you guys gave out, because then, of course, you're covering the possibility of Spann catching lightning in a bottle here and finding a finish. But just to give out something different, I don't mind Dominick Reyes by KO. I think it was plus 115. I'm always giving out odds from Bet Online. I live in Nevada, so I can't. Oh, yeah, Luke knows what I'm talking about. I can't use DraftKings and I can't use FanDuel. So I always forget to look at what those lines are, but it's probably out there at better than plus 115. What do we got there? Plus 128 on Bet Rivers. But yeah, I like Reyes by KO here.
Yeah, I like it. I think KO is the most likely scenario there. So hopefully we get some violence in this fight. And hopefully we get some violence in this next fight. We have Brad Riddell going against Renato Moicano, and I am going to go the violence route here. I'm going to go with the fight doesn't go to decision around -140. Also, don't mind the under 2.5 rounds there, but I just see paths for both guys to finish. I think Moicano, if he gets this fight down to the mat, he's very live to submit Brad Riddell. Like, Moicano is a phenomenal grappler. And he's super dangerous. Like, and Riddell's been submitted twice, once in the UFC, once outside the UFC. And then on the flip side, like, Moicano, I'm not in love with the guy's chin. The guy took an absolute beating in his last fight. The fight should have been stopped like 20 times. It did not. And Brad Riddell, he hasn't shown much finishing ability in the UFC yet, but he has had a lot of good moments, a lot of moments where he was close to finishing. And again, I don't trust the chin of Moicano. I don't trust the striking defense. So I can see a Brad Riddell knockout. I could see a Moicano submission. I could see a Moicano club and sub as well. So I like the fight as it go, kind of cover both sides. If I had to pick a side, it would be the Moicano side. But I'm not extremely confident in that. But what I am confident in is some violence here. Eric, how are you seeing this fight?
Yeah, I did bet Moicano's money line, but just to have a little more fun with it than that. If I'm not mistaken, I think Moicano's last 4 wins have been by rear naked choke. Why not ride the trend, right? Moicano by sub plus 300. Probably out there at a better line than that too. But yeah, I guess, yeah, FanDuel plus 300 as well. But yeah, why not ride the trend? 5 rear naked chokes in a row. Let's do it, Moicano, plus 300.
Let's go. I think it's very live. Lou, how about you? What do you like in here?
I'm right there with Eric. I love the Moicano sub here. You guys broke it down perfectly. Here's the one thing I'd like to add here. Riddell's last loss was only 4 months ago. That flash submission. That's got to play him. There's got to be a mental aspect of him that's going to be really tentative to get in bad spots. It may make him less aggressive early in the first round of this fight. I've seen guys come out super tentative when they're coming off a very fast loss. So if he does, I mean, you could say what you want about Moicano's chin, but even in the 5th round of that RDA fight, he was fighting back. I mean, dude's pretty tough. Maybe I just like him. I really hope he gets a submission here because that is what I'm on. I also have a money line. I'll disagree with one thing. I think Moicano probably has 80% of the finishing equity here. So I do see takedowns galore for him.
Yeah, if he goes that takedown route, he's super live for that sub. Luke, how are you seeing this one? Anything sticking out?
Yeah, I'm with you, Brady. I like the fight doesn't go the distance under 2.5. Obviously, kind of with the discrepancy with where it's at right now, your best option is probably to just take the doesn't go because it's not that different. But you pretty much broke down all my thoughts, Brady. I think Riddell can knock out Moicano. Moicano has a pretty big grappling advantage in this fight. We've seen guys get to back right on Riddell before, but Moicano is a different animal. If Riddell is able to win the fight, I think he needs to get inside, make it a dog fight, make it disgusting, which we know a guy like Renato Moicano does not like that kind of a fight. So I think he can definitely find that chin. So take out the variance of a side and give me violence.
All right, let's get some violence here. Sean liking the violence. We got Dan liking the violence, but no side. We got Propaholic on the violence, -135 there. Riddell fight doesn't go to decision. I like it. Big Nose liking the fight doesn't go to decision. So a lot of people agreeing. Glenn's on the Riddell by decision. And in the 90s is saying the under is better than a side. I'm kind of right there with you. But we keep moving on to the next fight. And we are going to kick off the pay-per-view here. And we have a very highly disputed fight across the MMA community here. We got Claudio Puelles going against Dan Hooker. And let's start with you, Eric. What are you liking on this fight here?
I really, really like Dan Hooker's money line here. I think he's being disrespected a little bit. I think the narrative that he's washed and well past his prime is, I think it's overplayed a little bit, honestly. Is he the fighter that he once was? Maybe not, but I still think he's pretty effective. I still think he's pretty dangerous. And, Puelles needs to get takedowns here and be able to keep some time on the ground. And as DC really enjoyed pointing out, Puelles he just doesn't shoot very good takedowns. He's just not that good of a wrestler. Once he's on the ground, he's dangerous, but I don't think he's going to be able to get Hooker down and keep him down. And I think if it plays out on the feet, Hooker's going to have a huge advantage there. And this was a spot where I almost never do this, but I actually doubled down. Like I put some on Hooker at, I think, like -156, and then his line improved to I think it was -145 or something like that. And I bet it again because I think he should be a bigger favorite than that here. I like that money line a lot.
Yeah, I'm with you. Dan Hooker is probably my favorite play of the night. Just really confident in it, and the whole narrative that he's a wash and he's a bum. I personally don't think so. I mean, he's only 32 years old. Yes, he's lost 2 in a row, but he lost against Islam Makhachev on short notice. I think we could forgive him for that. And then he went down and cut down to 145, which is a terrible mistake. Did that for the first time in a while, and he looked awful. And then he got knocked out by Arnold Allen. And Allen's probably going to be fighting for a title in the very near future. So I think we can forgive him for that. If he loses to Claudio Poyes, that is unforgivable. If he loses to Claudio Poyes, then we could start the whole Dan Hooker's a bum, Dan Hooker's washed, and I'll even admit that. But man, he should not lose this fight. Phenomenal takedown defense and Dan Hooker. Shout out to Uncle Weezy. He was talking about the difference between his takedown defense and his entire career because he has fought at 145 before, but his takedown defense at 155 is like 86%, something like that, 87%. Like phenomenal. I don't think Poyes has good wrestling. I don't think Poyes has good striking. I've heard some takes that Poyes is going to knock out Dan Hooker. Like, is he going to leg kick him to death? I don't know. But yeah, I like Dan Hooker. I mean, if you like Claudio Poyes, I mean, there's really one way to play it and one way only. I mean, it's the submission prop. I mean, I'd be fairly shocked if Poyes went out there and either A, outstruck Dan Hooker across 3 rounds or B, just took him down and 1-2. I'd be shocked if either of those scenarios happen. So you feel like Poyes, like, why aren't you smashing this line at plus 350? I think that's the majority of his win conditions. So I am on Dan Hooker. That is the best bet for me, minus 150. But if you like Poyes, that plus 350 by sub is kind of ridiculous in my opinion. Luke, how are you seeing this fight here?
Yeah, I guess we'll complete the trifecta. Hooker's my biggest bet on the card. I think he's going to mop the floor with plus. I think it's going to be one of those bets, honestly, that's just going to look so ridiculous hindsight, where you're going to be like, you gave me Dan Hooker at minus 150. I think that's how it's going to look. Once again, could be wrong. He goes up there, is wash, goes out and gets knee barred. And I'm kind of with you, Brady. If that's what, what happens, maybe that conversation then needs to start. But the overall skill gap, strength of competition between both guys, I mean, it's just completely night and day. Puelles has a very narrow path to victory, and he's only he's a plus 130 underdog. That doesn't make any sense to me, to Brady's point. If you like Puelles, just play him by sub. He's not outstriking Dan Hooker. He's not knocking out Dan Hooker. He's not winning minutes on Dan Hooker. I'd be shocked. I'd be completely shocked. So I just play him by sub. But I think Dan Hooker at 60% implied is the best bet of this entire card.
Yeah, it kind of feels like the Oezdemir Craig fight a couple months ago, where like Craig's path to victory is pulling guard and getting a submission off his back, right? Kind of feels like that. So I think it could look like a good bet, or it could look like a bad bet. It could look, Poyes can come out here and sub him. We'll have to see. But Lou, how are you seeing this one?
Let's make it a clean sweep. And it's funny you brought up Oezdemir and Craig, because I'm actually going to play Hooker by decision at pretty good odds here at plus 250. I can see him kind of just dominating the stand-up. If he defends takedowns, maybe that kills some clock. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'll regret this one in hindsight, but you guys summed it up perfectly. Puelles' path is really like meme knee bar, like just stay out of trouble. I think Hooker can. I think this is a pretty sizable step down for most of the guys he's fought. I think he stays out of trouble. I think he peppers him from the outside. Maybe the third round is him just fending off takedown after winning the first 2. So I like the decision prop here. We were all shocked that Oezdemir won by a decision. I know I was, because that's the only shoey bet I ever lost to Paul Shaughnessy. But yeah, Hooker and Hooker by decision. Make it a clean sweep on the pick.
Looks like we got a clean sweep. We'll see if it works out. Alex saying Dan Hooker is losing tonight. Alex saying Hooker is washed. Yeah, that's the big narrative. Hooker is not finishing him. Yeah, Puelles does have he could definitely take a beating. That is for sure. Dan Hardy says Puelles by sub. Yeah, that's how he wins. Paulie saying Hooker inside the distance. Alex saying if Hooker takes another L, he should retire. I don't think he should retire. He's only 32, but it'd be a bad look. Glenn saying Hangman by sub in the second. I've heard some Hooker submission takes. I had somebody hit me up, and Dan Hooker by sub was like plus 2,000 earlier the week against on Bet Online. I don't know, maybe. Dan Hooker round 2 for Glenn. Carlos saying someone to put 79K on Puelles to win. Yeah, I did see that on Twitter. Hooker about to get subbed in the first round. Propaholic on the KO plus 250. Yeah, I can't wait for this fight. Lots of strong takes on either side. We will see if Hooker is washed and a bum. I can't wait to find out. All right, we'll move on to speaking of washed, and we got Frankie Edgar, Chris Gutierrez, plus 220 for Frankie Edgar. I'm kind of tempted, but it feels like such a trap. I mean, Frankie Edgar, legend, and this is a winnable matchup for him. Such a winnable matchup because I go back and watch Chris Gutierrez. I mean, this guy is going to split decision just 2 fights ago against Felipe Calores. Getting taken down by Felipe Calores, the same Felipe Calores who got dominated by Chase Hooper, and he's getting taken down by Geraldo de Freitas and guys like that. He's getting 10-8'd by flyweight Cody Durden. Frankie Edgar, this is a really winnable matchup for him, but he's 41 years old. This is his retirement fight. The durability is waning a little bit, so I don't know if I can get there. From a best bet standpoint, I don't know. I think I would have to go Frankie Edgar plus 220 at this point for a best bet. I don't mind like the split decision prop. I think if this goes to decision, it could be close. But I will say best bet for me right now at this money line, one last ride, Frankie Edgar plus 220. It's a winnable matchup. It's just he is 41 and there are a ton of red flags on him, but that's obviously factored in and baked in the line here. So Frankie Edgar plus 225 now it looks like. So money's still pouring in on Chris Gutierrez. I get it to an extent, but again, this is a winnable matchup for Edgar. Luke, how are you seeing this one?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you that I think Frankie is the side as well. I personally just played the over 2.5, I think at like minus 150 or so. I just think there's like the finish here as being even a little, I know it's obviously favored to go the distance, but I still think that's a pretty low number if you just contextualize both guys. Obviously Edgar coming off those 3 massive knockouts, but those shots would pretty much have put down mules. Like I don't think it's that Frankie has a horrible chin. I mean, you throw a spring chicken 25-year-old in there and he takes that Marlon Vera front kick to the face. A lot of people are probably going down from that shot. So I think that's a little bit overplayed. Now, obviously you can say that he's severely compromised from those now. That's a better argument. I just wanted to touch on that. But then, you got a guy in Gutierrez coming off that spinning back fist knockout, but it's like Gutierrez is a volume point fighter. He's never been a power puncher pretty much in his entire career. The concern is more so with the calf kicks, right? But to your point with the wrestling for Frankie, man, he should be able to land some takedowns here, extend some minutes. Gutierrez is going to sit there and skirt the outside. Yeah, I think this fight should actually hit the cards at a moderate clip.
Yeah, I like that as well. I saw somebody on Twitter saying that Edgar's going to get his head taken off. And I mean, maybe his legs get taken off, but Gutierrez, it's just not his game. Lou, who are you liking in this fight?
Sorry, my tab wasn't coming
Very
on.
good.
Yeah, I took the stupid poke on Edgar here. I couldn't resist. It's on one with my heart. I will say this. I mean, Gutierrez has been taken down in his last 4 fights. Even Bactery took him down. Could Edgar go that route here and just kind of stay out of trouble? Because I'm with Luke. I think this goes decision way more often than not. Could it get greasy with the judges? He's the hometown guy. Brady, we talked earlier in the week about this Edgar split decision is sexy looking, plus 1,200 odds. So I have a small poke on that as well. But I'm very light on this fight. This is heart over mind. Does Edgar look washed? Yeah, but again, this is a pretty big step down in competition for him here against a guy who has shown pretty susceptible takedowns defense. So maybe Edgar catch some kicks, get him down, wear him out. So give me the poke on Edgar. And if his line gets out of control as the night goes on, maybe I'll add a small little piece to his to there as well.
Yeah, I wonder what how wide this line is going to get, because in my opinion, it is already pretty wide. Unless like Edgar's like extremely washed, but I mean he looked solid against Marlon Vera for the first round and a half. So yeah, we'll have to see. Eric, what do you like for this one?
Yeah, I did take a little shot on Edgar here too. Like should Gutierrez win this fight? Yeah, I would say he should be favored, but I think the line has gotten too wide. I mean, even a slowed down 41-year-old Frankie Edgar, I think is still capable of doing what he needs to do to beat Chris Gutierrez. If he has, his best possible performance in there as the 41-year-old version of himself that he is, I think he's definitely still capable of beating Chris Gutierrez, finding those, Gutierrez is going to be throwing kicks to the legs and the bodies, potentially creating opportunities for Frankie to catch kicks and find takedowns. And, he can still do even the slowed down version that he is now. He can still do Frankie Edgar things. I mean, until he caught that front kick to the face against Cheeto, he was doing Frankie Edgar things, maybe a little bit slower than he had been before, but I do think it's a winnable fight for Edgar. And with him being at like plus 220, plus 225, I think that's a pretty good bet.
Yep, it definitely could look like a really good bet. We'll have to see. I cannot wait for that fight. It should be Frankie Edgar's last fight. He's saying it's his last fight, so I will believe him there, but you never know. All right, we have to go and scroll all the way down. Shout out to Best Fight Odds, completely shitting the bed on a huge pay-per-view. But we go down to Dustin Poirier going against Michael Chandler. Luke, we'll start with you. What are you liking on this fight here?
This is tough, man. Honestly, I know I have to give something out. I don't know what I like on this fight. I mean, if you tell me that Michael Chandler comes out here and wrestles, I think he's immense amount of value at plus 180, to be honest. But problem is Michael Chandler wants to fight to entertain and likes to go to war, and not always uses wrestling. So if he's going to go out there and stand and bang with Poirier, I think it's probably a decent spot for Poirier. But obviously Chandler still hits hard too. I'd still think Poirier is a better striker, more minute winning, more durable. Let's get a little weird here. Let's go with a 3-round war trap. Fight goes the distance, plus 200, complete, blood pressure medication type of fight, like Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler. I think that's possible. How likely? We'll see, but I think there could be some value on that. Just like I said, blood pressure, fight goes the distance.
Yeah, terrifying, but I could potentially see it. Fight goes decision on FanDuel Sportsbook right now, plus 230. Lou, what do you like on this one?
I don't like that. I like the opposite of what Luke just said. And I like Chandler round 1 KO here. I'm taking all the tape out of this for a second. Chandler seems to always believe he's one fight away from a title shot. Right now, I mean, Poirier just can't seem to get over that last hump. I don't know. Something tells me Chandler's going to bonk him early. This is a dude who's hurt Oliveira round 1. I mean, knocked him down, almost had the title in the first round. I think Chandler is going to find that knockout shot. I think he's going to get it done. I also have a shoey bet with Cody Blood Money MMA bets on this, trying to extend my immaculate 6-1 shoey record. I am on the Chandler side. Call this more of a gut feeling than anything else, but I really do think Chandler can find his chin in the first round and get him out of there. And it won't take more than one.
All right. Yeah, I think that's a good look because, I am on the Poirier side, inside the distance to get that line down a little bit. I mean, the fight's minus 250 to not go on Bet Online, minus 330 there. But what I am worried about is that first round from Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler is very explosive in that first round, but I just don't trust the cardio at this point of his career. 36 years old. He's taken a lot of damage. He's been knocked out 4 times. I think he does weather that early storm and really start to take over in that second and third. And I think Poirier does eventually get him out of there in that second or third round. So I'm going to go with Poirier inside the distance, plus 100, plus 105. Get the line down a lot there in a fight that I do think finishes. Eric, what are you liking in this fight?
I think there are a few fights on this card where the lines have just gotten too wide late, where it's swung to the point where I think a shot on the dog makes more sense. And this is one of them. As for a pick, I do like Poirier to win here, but I don't necessarily see this as a spot where Chandler should be almost a 2-1 underdog. So if I was going to bet it here, I do think there's value on Chandler here. Especially early, this fight could, if it goes later, it could swing a little more Poirier's way, but especially early, I think this could look like a 50-50 fight. And you might be happy to have that, plus 185, plus 190 on Chandler. So I think that's the way I would go if I was going to bet it.
Yeah, and it could be another live betting spot for me. If Michael Chandler comes out here and has a lot of success in the first round, which I expect him to, maybe I take a live shot on Poirier going into the second there. So, yeah, it should be a phenomenal fight, though. I'm sure it's pretty much everybody's favorite fight on the card. I mean, this fight's going to be phenomenal. But we can move on to the strawweight title fight. We have Zhang Weili going against Carla Esparza. Zhang Weili, a minus 350 favorite. Carla Esparza, plus 285. Lou, we will start with you. Is there anything sticking out to you in this co-main event?
Yep. Weili. She will get it done. She will get it done early, and she will get it done violently. I have her inside the distance, slightly over plus odds. I don't know that she even has decision equity here, because if this thing gets into the 4th round, It means Esparza got some takedowns going, but I think Weili Zhang is just going to come out and brutalize her. And I have to admit, maybe a piece of this is because of how angry I was over the last fight with Carla Esparza. So just want to make that perfectly clear that maybe I'm seeing it through rose-colored glasses, but man, I like everything I've seen from Weili Zhang. And I think this is a pretty favorable matchup for her.
All right, Weili Zhang inside the distance looks like best price out there, like -103 there. Luke, anything sticking out to you in this co-main event?
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna give me +300 on one of the best female wrestlers in the world against a girl who's never stood up from bottom in her entire pro career, very easy bet. I mean, there's not really much else I have to say. Weili Zhang needs to prove that she can stuff takedowns. She needs to prove that she can stand up from bottom for the first time in her career. She needs to prove that she can defensively grapple. Now, like I said, the people aren't talking about the fact of what, Carla was able to do to Yan Xiaonan, a girl who historically has also struggled with her takedown defense, not been able to get up from bottom. Carla might be able to just smash her, especially later on the ground too. I think that's not of the highest percentage. It's probably going to be a bit more lay and pray, but she has a very clear path to victory if Weili has not been able to evolve this part of her game. So pretty easy for me to make a small pop on Carla here.
All right, Luke taking the shot on Esparza +300 there on FanDuel. Eric, what do you like for the co-main event?
Interestingly, I have two best bets that I put down in my notes here, and they are the exact two bets that my colleagues just gave out. Weili Zhang inside the distance and Carla Esparza money line. Like, this is another one of those spots where I do feel like Weili should win, but I feel like it's pretty wide. Like a spot on Carla at around +300 range makes a lot of sense. But Weili Zhang inside the distance is probably the spot I like the most. I do think she should win this, and I don't think Carla will last to the final bell.
Yeah, I mean, if you like Weili, and I do like the Weili side, but obviously you can't lay the -350, -400. I think the inside the distance is the way to go. I did take the under. I think most of the finishing upside is on Weili, obviously, but anything can happen. As far as we saw her go out there, just completely run through Yan Xiaonan a couple fights ago. But I do think Zhang Weili does eventually finish Esparza, whether it's early, whether it's late. I think she does get it done. But give me the under, just because there's not much of a difference in price in terms of the inside the distance or that under. So I think it covers both sides there. But I was kind of tempted on like the Carla Esparza decision only. I think on DraftKings Sportsbook, I saw it at like +200. Because if this fight does go to decision, it probably means that Esparza was able to get takedown. She was able to have success holding down Zhang Weili. So that was a spot that kind of stuck out to me. Didn't quite pull the trigger, but the Esparza decision only was something that kind of caught my eye there. See what we're saying in the chat here. Josh saying Carla beat Rose twice and Zhang lost to Rose twice. Seeing a pattern here. MMA math. There we go. Probaholic saying good stuff, Brady. Stupid pods. There we go. 90 saying Carla money line is better than her decision. Carla could get grounded pound. Yeah, potentially. We've seen it before. M39 saying don't gamble. There you go. All right.
In the wrong place if you don't want to gamble.
Probably in the wrong place indeed. All right. Let us move on to the main event. Before we do so, over 500 of you in here. If you guys can please hit the like button. We did hit over 100 likes. So I do appreciate that a ton. Appreciate all the donos. Tajik, you're the man if you're still hanging out. And okay, so main event. Eric, we're going to let you kick this one off first because I know you got to head out of here pretty soon. So Israel Adesanya, Alex Pereira, what is your best bet here?
Man, I'm not going to do a great job of kicking this one off. I don't know what to do with this fight. I really don't. This is one of those where I've gone back and forth, or mostly I guess I've just kind of stayed in the middle. I don't really know what to do with it. I don't really know how it's going to play out. It's like you start thinking like, okay, well, how different is it really? Pereira obviously has beaten Adesanya twice in kickboxing. We're moving into a different sport here, but how different is it really going to be with them fighting MMA? And I don't feel like I know the answer to that. I mean, it's unlikely that Israel Adesanya is going to come out here with the singlet on and look to wrestle, which obviously would be the biggest change we would see with it being in MMA rather than kickboxing. If it plays out like a kickboxing fight, it's hard not to like Pereira at almost 2-1, in my opinion. But this is another spot. I do think Adesanya probably should win. I mean, it makes sense that he's favored, but it feels wide enough to me at this point that if I was going to pick a side, I don't mind that shot on Pereira's money line at like +190 or so. And I think, I think if Pereira does win, he probably finds a KO, but I think his KO line isn't a whole lot better than his money line anyway. So I'd probably just stick with the money line. But yeah, I'm staying away from this one because I just don't know how it's going to play out. But I think I would have to take the dog shot here if I was going to bet something.
Yeah, and on Bet Rivers, for some reason, it's at plus 460, but that line it's fake. It's a fake line. So
right.
The best line is actually that plus 190 on Bet Online there. So yeah, Eric, thank you so much for coming on. Always good having you on. Just let the people know where they can find you and what you have going on typically throughout the week for some MMA content. And like I said, I did link down your Twitter and your YouTube in the description below.
Awesome. Yeah, I got to duck out, everybody, but thanks for having me here, Brady. Thanks to Lou and Luke as well. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Eric Bets Fights, on Instagram at Eric_Bets_Fights. Also, yeah, on YouTube, it's down below there. Otherwise, you can just search Eric Bets Fights. I put out a full card breakdown, usually comes out on Wednesdays on my channel and also on the Never Hedge Media YouTube channel. And I also put out written breakdowns of the fights that I usually put that out on Mondays on Never Hedge Media's Substack email newsletter. So thanks to everybody for being here. Good luck on your bets, and I hope you enjoy the fights.
Thank you so much, Eric. All right, we will move on to Luke. Luke, what are you liking for the main event?
Yeah, kind of similar to Eric, at least in what he said originally. I don't really like this fight from a betting perspective. I don't think there's much value anywhere. I kind of come down on the side that I think Adesanya is just a better striker than him, obviously more established, more battle tested. I think he actually could finish, assuming Pereira also, if Pereira potentially slows down. We obviously saw Adesanya absolutely teeing off on him in the second kickboxing fight, where, you know, if there wasn't that standing 8 count, he actually probably would have finished Pereira. So just a little bit of a side narrative there. But, you know, am I really willing to pony up 215 for it? I'm not really clamoring to do it. Like I said, I think over 5 rounds he could finish those. So I guess I would just say gun to my head, small pop on like Adesanya, like a unit or something. I just don't think there's much value on this fight as a whole.
Yeah, Adesanya early in the week was like minus 165. I kind of wish I would have hopped on that, but yeah, missed the boat. For me, I'm gonna take the violence route. I don't feel amazing about it because this is an Israel Adesanya fight, and how many times have we seen him just go out there, take the safe route and outpoint Pereira, or outpoint his opponents to a decision. But I kind of think this fight's a little bit different for a couple different reasons. So firstly, we have not seen Pereira in a 4th or 5th round. Still very unexperienced in terms of MMA. On top of that, I don't like the striking defense of Alex Pereira. I mean, this guy's a guy that kind of plods forward, hands low, willing to eat shots. I could see Adesanya potentially knocking him out. On the flip side, I mean, if Pereira wins, it is going to be by knockout. So the fight doesn't go minus 116 is kind of where I look. The under 4.5 plus 112. I'd be looking at violence here, if anything, at this point. Lou, how about you? What are you liking for this fight?
I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach here. I'm going to look for a live entry after round 1. We did miss a little bit of the line with Adesanya now that he's more than 2-1 or 7-1, of course, on Bet Rivers. I feel like if Pereira has a pretty competent first round, if it's very back and forth, we could get Adesanya almost close to even money, maybe minus 120. You mentioned he does have the experience in the championship rounds. I think it will take over as we go on. So I'm looking for a live entry. The pick is Adesanya, but after round 1, we should get a good price.
All right, sounds good. All right, I'm gonna stick around, guys, for the last like 50 minutes. So don't leave yet, but I'm going to send off my guest here. We'll start with Luke. Luke, let the people know where they can find you and what you have typically going on throughout a UFC fight card week.
Yeah, I'll be in my live Discord that I offer for my Patreon. So patreon.com/SWRbetting. That's where I put up all my bets, content, breakdowns, podcasts. Like I said, you can get access to my Discord there as well. So I'll be in there for the fights this afternoon. Twitter, SWR_betting. I'm on the Club and Sub podcast every single Wednesday night on YouTube as well. So be sure to head over there and check that out as well. But yeah, thanks for having me on, Brady. It was a blast, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for coming on, Luke. Good luck. Let us make some money. We'll talk to you very soon.
Peace out, guys.
All right. We got Lou Betcha. Lou, let the people know where they can find you and what you have going on throughout the week typically.
Twitter address is down below. The only thing that I am going to promote here is that Tuesday at 6:30, Weezy and I will be interviewing friend of the channel, MMA Engine, Cody Brundage, where he will give us his prediction for his fight against Rodolfo Vieira. I imagine he's going to say he's going to win as part of his prediction. And also, I will force him to apologize for telling me to bet him by round 1 submission against Tresean Gore when he won by round 1 KO. So that should be fun. Prop show on Thursday, weirdly enough, also with Wheezy this week. And my usual happy hour stuff, which is like the variety hour of the channel and not even a real betting show at this point, but a lot of fun.
Yes.
So thanks for having me on, Brady. I do appreciate it. Everybody in the chat, thanks for hanging out. Good luck to each and every one of you, especially the ones that I'm on the same side with betting wise. But hope everybody wins some kind of money tonight. Let's go.
Let's do it. All right. Good luck. I'm sure I'll be talking to you throughout the night, Lou. See you later.
Later, my man.
All right. If you guys are just coming in, if you guys missed a fight, we could talk some fights here. I'll be on for like another 50 minutes or so. It's a big card, lots to talk about. But yeah, I think it's going to be a great card. I have a ton of action. I am betting on 12 out of the 14 fights. So lots of action. Looking forward to it for sure. But yeah, lots of things sticking out. Lots of plus money props. Not too many like big plays for me this week, but just lots of plus money props that are really, really sticking out. So let's see what's going on in the chat. Do appreciate you all hanging out. Still 500 of you hanging out with me. The fights start in about 49 minutes. Cannot wait. Josh saying, but Brady, that is how Alex lures people into his reach, then chins him. And yeah, that could happen here. I mean, if Alex Pereira does win, it is by knockout. I'd be shocked to see him win a decision. And it could happen. Your top 3 favorite picks on the fight. We're talking money line. Money line. I like Dan Hooker. I like Blanchfield, and I'll say like Dominick Reyes potentially. I think those 3 I do like a lot. Trust me, Molly McCann is a lock pick. I mean, I think she could win potentially. It's obviously not likely. I think she's like plus 310. I mean, you could say she, but calling it a lock, I don't know. I think that's kind of, irresponsible to call it a lock. But I mean, I think it all comes down to Blanchfield. Is she going to go out there and wrestle? I'd imagine she does. If she doesn't, yes, Molly could win. Is she going to stuff takedowns from Blanchfield? I'd imagine not. But if she does, yeah, Molly could win. I just think Molly McCann has a lot going against her. So, I don't think she's a lock. Eric saying, who's your 2 dogs of the night? Turman, I suppose. I think Edgar is a very live dog, although he's 41. I liked Azaitar as a dog, but he's like a decent-sized favorite now. His line got smashed. I like Silvana Gomez Juarez as a dog, but she's now a pick'em. That's about it. Other than that, I think the favorites kind of roll. Moicano was a pick'em earlier in the week. He's now a slight favorite. I think Alex Pereira is obviously really live with that power, but what do you think of the upsets in the first 3 fights? Honestly, an upset in one of the first 3 fights would not shock me on either 3 of them. I'm kind of worried about the Olberg fight personally. I think Montel Jackson could win, but if Arce is able to stuff those takedowns, I think it could be close. And Trizano has a habit of making fights close at times out of nowhere. I think if one was to pull off the upset, I think it would be that Negumereanu, but I think the favorites do get it done in the first 3. Thoughts on Riddell, Moicano to go the distance plus 100? Yeah, I'm the complete opposite. I'm on the fight doesn't go to decision. They've been finishing all but one of their losses. I see paths to finish for both, whether it's a Riddell knockout, a submission for Moicano, a club and sub. So I'm on the other side, and I kind of like it a lot. I kind of like the violence a lot. Molly is probably losing. Molly's really been working on her jiu-jitsu. She's going to have to have made massive improvements from the Procopio fight, which was just like a year ago. It was a bad look to me, very bad look. But I'll be rooting for her. I mean, it would be awesome to see her knock out Blanchfield, but I don't know. I'm not too confident in it. City Kickboxing Parlay. Sitting Kickboxing Parlay. Does it come out to like plus 800, something like that? I personally think they go 3-1. The one I'd be seriously worried about would be Olberg and Riddell would be the 2 I'm kind of worried about. But you never know. Dustin saying, why would Dana feed Molly to the Wolves? She's been on this high success wave. Why not ride it? Yeah, I was kind of shocked when I saw the matchup. Kind of disappointed as well because Molly was, building some hype. signed that deal with Barstool. You know, things were looking up for Molly McCann. She even called out Antonina Shevchenko, which I thought that would have been a much better fight than Blanchfield. And then I saw the Blanchfield match. I'm like, what are you doing? It's just not smart. But I mean, if she wins this fight, I mean, imagine the stock of Molly McCann if she's able to go out there and pull off the upset as the biggest dog on the entire card. Do I think it's likely? Not really, but you know, it is MMA and anything can happen. And it's women's MMA, and we know anything can happen. So I'll be rooting for her, but I don't know. Brady's proofreading is on point today, yes, sir. And especially with Dan in the chat. Always gotta proofread. Always gotta be careful. Shout out to Dan. Probaholic saying this is my favorite card of the year. I think I'm right there with you. You know, UFC 280 last month. That was a card that I was looking forward to for a while, and watching that card, it kind of disappointed. Like I was hyping up that fight card all day, all week, that week, and it wasn't great. You know, it was on paper, it's phenomenal, but it wasn't great. This card is a great card on paper, and I'm just hoping it delivers because I don't know what it is. Like every time there's a crap card on some of these fight nights at the Apex, like crapping on all, they all of a sudden become like phenomenal cards. So I'm hoping it's a fun card. I mean, on paper, it's a phenomenal card. I'm just hoping it plays out fun. Pereira by sub. Pereira by sub would shock me, to be honest. But Pereira by sub is plus 2,900. 2,900. I don't know. I'd be kind of shocked if it happened, but 2,900. 2,900. Poirier, Chandler goes to decision, sneaky pick. Chandler, Gaethje, Poirier, Hooker 2.0. Do I think it goes to decision? I don't, but I'm not running to the window to lay like the minus 260 for it not to go the distance. Could it go to decision? Yes, but if you bet that, you're going to be sweating. You might take a couple of years off your life because these guys are going to stand and bang. I mean, these guys are going to throw down. So it would be terrifying, but could it hit? I think it could. But I don't know. It's not something I would bet. I hate betting overs in general, but I'm definitely not betting overs in a fight like that. I'm not betting an over in the Spann fight, Reyes fight. Just not my thing. I like to not lose years off my life. Adesanya, more significant punches in round 4. Bet thought. I mean, I'd have to know the line. If we're getting anywhere even money, I'd say yeah. But I got another line. What do you think about Volk versus Islam fight being announced for February? Did it officially get announced though, or there's been a lot of like fake accounts lately? If it's official, I mean that's a phenomenal fight. I can't wait for it, but I don't know if it's official or not. I don't hate that. I don't hate the Petroski Turman over because again, it took Petroski like 14 and a half minutes to finish Michael Gilmore and Zhang Hu. So I actually don't mind that. The over is plus money, plus 140. And it's another sweaty one, another one where you might lose a couple years off your life, but I think that one is actually something that would kind of tempt me. My pick is Chandler, but my more confident bet is Poirier. Last 3 fights to end in KO parlay of the night. So you're thinking the Poirier Chandler fight. I can see it. The Zhang Weili fight. I can see that. I can see that. Exactly. If you're betting the over on the Chandler fight, you definitely need to leave the room and come back in 20 minutes. That's what I do. If I'm betting an over, and it could be in any fight, like I bet the over in, I think it was Angela Hill, Tisha Torres, and I couldn't even watch that. Like I hate watching fights when I have the over. Like I go for a walk and don't even watch. So that's why I don't bet overs. I like unders. I'm a violence guy. Justin, I'm concerned about the Petroski fight. If you want to hedge out a little bit, I mean, I would say Petroski by KO would be a solid hedge, but they're only giving you plus like 230 on it. So I don't know. I just want to hear Brady, JP's last name, JP Vlismus. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Tomorrow's Stat Diggers is going to be hilarious. Yeah, I'm actually halfway done with the card, which is unusual, but I was able to get a ton done this week. Liking a lot of spots next week, liking a lot of violence next week as well. It should be a fun show. I have a lot of funny things to say about the Turcios fight. I think I have a nice story for the Turcios fight. Might have a heart attack watching, but I'll wake up to the dub. There you go. You know, at least you'll cash that bet. Why is round 2 to start minus 200? Dustin round 2 to start minus 210. I don't know. I mean, I think that hits. I think it does get to the round 2, but you'll have to worry about Chandler round 1. So maybe you could bet that and hedge with the Chandler round 1. I don't see Dustin really finishing a Chandler early. Maybe he can, but I don't think so. Jesse saying BetMGM line has Petroski KO plus 600. Yeah, if you can get that line, I don't hate a shot on that because everywhere else is like plus 300. So Petroski by KO. It's not showing up on best fight odds, but if it's there, it's there, and it's a good look if you like Petroski, especially. Pereira over 60 significant strikes. I don't hate it. The only thing, if he's landing 60, I mean, he might knock out Adesanya. It would be the only concern there. Carla Esparza, 4th round sub. Yeah, as long as the co-main event finishes, I'll be happy. I'm on the under. I think Zhang Weili is way more likely to finish, but yeah, if Carla gets her, then she gets her. It would be a huge upset, another huge upset. Meatball Molly by 3rd round KO. Yeah, you got to root for Molly. You got to root for Molly, but I can't pick her. I just can't do it. I do like that Adesanya over 70 though a lot. I think that's a good one. Hooker Adesanya parlay. Don't hate it. I would just play Hooker straight, like he's like minus 150, but I don't hate it. I think it's around plus money there. Paul saying Meatball is my lock. Yeah, I've heard a couple people say Molly's a lock. I mean, I think she could win potentially, maybe, but calling it a lock, I mean, nothing's a lock. Like I'm really confident in Dan Hooker. I'm not going to go out there and call him a lock. I mean, anything can happen in MMA. I think the one time I called something a lock this year, like they lost. I called Dean Barry, who was like minus 1,500 against Mike Jacks. I called that a lock. I was like joking around, like, yeah, that's a lock. And he went out there and lost. I mean, nothing's a lock in the sport. The Meatball by split. I would kind of lean KO though. I think if Molly wins it, it will be by knockout. But maybe she's gonna have the crowd on her side. Maybe the crowd can influence the judge. Maybe something like that happens. But I'd kind of lean knockout. Favorite GPP play. There's a couple that stick out. I like Dominick Reyes. I think Silvana Gomez Juarez is a great GPP play. Reyes. I like Moicano as well. Like, there's a lot of good plays this week on DraftKings. Molly 8-ball McCann. There we go. What time is UFC starting? It is starting in about 38 minutes. No locks. I agree. Especially Molly. Molly McCann's not a lock. The word lock means nothing. Yeah, I would never call anything a lock. I've started the Molly army. There you go. Odds on Meatball trying a spinning elbow minus 300. I mean, it's going to happen. Who is the haircut fade? And Dan's asking the real questions here. Who's the haircut fade? Michael Trizano came in there with a mullet. I don't like that. And then the other one I did not like was Andre Petroski's blonde hair. I don't think he's naturally blonde. So Petroski and Trizano are the haircut fades. And those haircut narratives have been working very well, Dan. And you know this more than anybody. I got Juarez to get it done by knockout. Juarez has those cannons in her fist. She hits very, very hard. I'm not hating on the mullet. I mean, some guys can pull it off. Some guys can't. But the mullets have not been doing great as of late. We saw Tanner Bozer was doing well for a bit. And then he went out there and he's been having some trouble lately. And then also we saw Jimmy Crute went out there with a mullet. And he's just been getting destroyed. So, I mean, the mullets have not been doing well for what it's worth. Often a women's heavyweight division, no. That's probably not going to ever happen there. I couldn't even imagine what that would look like. I mean, it'd be entertaining, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. Yeah, we are on the same page. Haircut fade, parlay inbound. Yeah, fade the haircuts. Who looked bad at the weigh-ins? Michael Trizano did. Michael Trizano probably looked the worst. I know Ryan Spann missed weight by a little. It was like a half a pound around there. He missed weight. He didn't look great, Ryan Spann, which makes me like that. The under just even more there. Edgar is the answer tonight. Yeah, one last ride. One last ride. I can't pull the trigger myself. Just can't do it. It feels like a trap. But the path is there. I mean, the path is absolutely there for one Frankie Edgar. It's just he's 41 and retiring. It just typically does not end well. Mike saying, what is the line on Izzy submission? It is plus 1,500 on Bet Rivers. And I see a lot of people actually on that submission. I'd be kind of shocked if it happened, but I don't know. Plus 1,500. I'd really be shocked if either guy went for takedowns. But if somebody was to, I think it would be Izzy. Wade saying, love that play, Erin. Money line plus Erin most takedowns, minus 140. Really? Is that a real thing? Well, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. So yeah, if you like Erin Blanchfield, that's how you play it. That line makes no sense. And there was another line that made no sense. So somebody posted on Twitter. It was like Edgar to have more takedowns and the fight to go over a half a round, and it's plus money. Like what? So yeah, these same game parlays are just ridiculous. MMA Project saying Chris has suspect takedown defense. Edgar is 41, but still has the ability to wrestle hard for 15 minutes. Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. I'm with you. It's just I don't know, 41. But yeah, he was looking good against Vera until he got a front kick to the face. So we'll see. I think it's a winnable matchup for him, but I can't pull the trigger myself. Madeleine is a lock for next week, and I actually have a bet on Madeleine. I have in a parlay with the Spann fight doesn't go. I don't think he's a lock, but I think it's a really good matchup. Yeah, I mean that's a phenomenal line. Just a phenomenal line. Dan saying Juarez is my Astroglide pick of the card. I got you, Dan. I got you. I think Izzy gasses. You think Izzy gasses? Really? I think if somebody's gassing, it's probably Alex. But I think if Alex wins, it's probably early, like the first 3 rounds too. Sean saying Weili's gonna be high on. Yeah, Weili's gonna be pretty high on. I think Blanchfield will get some ownership as well. I think Reyes up there might, get a little bit under-owned. It's like I got a 50% boost for up to $500. What is your favorite same game parlay for DK? Yeah, I mean they just brought up a Blanchfield one. Blanchfield more takedowns, and her money line is like minus 140, and then also the Edgar most takedowns and the over half of a round. I think that's a good way to play that. But you're liking the Juarez by KO and the under. I mean, a little more risky, a lot more risky than the other two, but I think that's a juicy one. Weili is going to lose just because she's minus 410. Yeah, we've seen big women's MMA favorites lose before, and we've seen it happen a lot. Wouldn't completely shock me, but I think it's a good matchup for her. Boston Nick saying Zhang KO round 3 or round 4. I actually picked the round 3 myself. So maybe it's a sign. Yeah, I think it could really be in any round, though. I could see it being in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th. I went with the KO. I had just put a Corey on the KO. I don't know if she wins a decision. I don't know if she can win a decision there, but I think she has a very good chance to knock out Carolina. If she gets to minus 420, she's a log. Hey, potentially. Great matchup for her. Yeah, I agree. Reyes versus Spann plays. I just went with the under 1.5, or the fight doesn't go to decision as a parlay piece. Hopefully the women's fights go long enough to give me a semi. I personally think all 3 could finish, but we'll see how long they go. Chandler Poirier will be fight of the night. I agree, 100%. Moicano by sub. Yeah, I'm with you there. I bet it like plus 420, which was a ridiculous line on Bet Online. It has came down a little bit. I still think it's like plus 300 though. I think that's how he wins. Hooker Weili parlay. I don't know if I'd parlay Weili. It's a wide line. I think she wins, but I don't know if I'd feel comfortable doing that. Reyes is minus 350 to have the longest torso. I mean, this guy's torso is very long, Dan. I think you should smash that line because I don't think anybody comes close at all. You don't get fight of the night with a quick finish. Yeah, I kind of think that Poirier fight ends in the 2nd round. Moicano's about to get smacked. I hope you're right. I hope the fight. I'm rooting for a finish. I have the fight to finish, and then I did sprinkle the KO prop for Riddell and the submission prop for Moicano. So as long as there's a finish, I'm sitting pretty. I wouldn't parlay Hooker. Yeah, I just played him straight. Moicano sub is plus 205. It's plus 205 on BetOnline, but on FanDuel, I believe it's still plus 300, which is a great line. Great line there. Goodness, Solar. Goodness. I don't know about that. 3 women's fights, not to go the distance, plus 510. Yeah, I think all 3 have a very good chance of finishing. Appreciate you, Ratchet USA. Still like Ottman. Yeah, I took a shot on the first round prop at like, I think like plus 335. It's still like plus 300, I think, on FanDuel. Let me see. Yeah, the first round prop plus 280-ish. Yeah, plus 280 on FanDuel Sportsbook. I think that's how he wins. The line move is kind of weird on this one, though. I mean, he went from a dog to all of a sudden he's minus 60. Money's still pouring in on Ottman Azaitar. I don't know if Frevola's coming in with an injury, maybe an undisclosed shoulder injury, maybe a knee injury. I don't know what's going on with Frevola, but yeah, the Azaitar money line is getting smacked. Absolutely getting smacked. What is up, Andy Mush? How you doing? 3,700 to 1. 3,700 to 1. Now that would be an insane hit. Are you talking like prop, like method and the pick, or just a pick? I've hit just the pick before, but hitting the pick and the method is just nearly impossible. We got James saying Frevola has a left knee injury. Yeah, something's got to be going on. Something's up. Unless people like are really high on Azaitar, which I think he wins, but I do have my concerns about Azaitar, especially if the fight does get extended. What were the odds that Weili could pick up Francis? About a pick 'em, I'd say, because she is very strong, but at the end of the day, she does weigh 115 pounds. So I was not expecting that, but am I shocked? No. But that was very impressive. Poirier and the over 1.5 rounds. I don't hate it. I'm personally picking a second round finish, so could come a little close. Ottman gas is out. He could, and that's kind of that's why I played the first round prop. Yeah, there's a lot of red flags on Reyes. Coming off MCL surgery on his knee, coming off of a layoff, coming off of a 3-fight losing streak. I mean, if we knew for a fact that we'd be getting the best Dominick Reyes, he would be like minus 500 here. But there are those question marks, those red flags. That is, yeah, minus 205 for Dominick Reyes. What to see. Frevola's going out early. I sure hope so. Boston hit the round 3 KO to win the contest last week. I surprised myself. He hit the round 3 KO for real? Good call. Good call. Gotcha. James. Carolina by armbar if the fight hits the mat. Yeah, the only thing with that is Carolina just doesn't wrestle. I mean, only 2 takedowns her entire career. She'd be very smart to do so here. Very smart to do so here. But I haven't seen her do it. Under is the best bet for Azaitar Frevola. I like it. It's gotten smashed hard over the past couple days, though, but I would lean the under, and then more specifically Azaitar and Azaitar early. Good luck to you as well, Dan. Yeah, what is that Azaitar under? Oh, yeah, it's got smashed. I remember the under 2.5 earlier. It opened up at like plus 130, moved instantly. Maybe the under 2.5 is now like minus 195. I know some people that got it like minus 130. The under is now like minus 115, plus 108 still there on FanDuel, but thought the MMA Guru, a very entertaining guy. Guru doing his thing. Mike saying Weili, Reyes, Olberg, KO parlay bet of the night. Mike says, I agree. I could see it. I mean, I agree, especially on the Zhang, Weili, and Reyes side. Olberg a little bit up in the air on the KO, but I think he does win. We got Danny in the chat saying, oi, what is up, Danny? Mike saying Weili. Top secret in the chat saying, who's hyped for UFC 281? I'm very hyped. Very hyped. Very excited. Lots of bets. And he's saying, let's flip and go. I agree. We got Kana Culture saying Dan Hooker is not washed. His recent losses are to current champ and 3 title contenders. Tonight we feast, boys. There we go. I agree. I cannot agree anymore. But yeah, a lot of people think that he's washed. Some people think he's a bum, and we are going to find out very soon if he's washed or a bum. We're about to find out. I cannot wait. How much would you pay to be in Laura Sanko's submission demo videos? I wouldn't pay to be in there, but I think it'd be fun to grapple with Laura Sanko. But I wouldn't pay for nothing. Reyes fight doesn't go decision. Weili and the over 1.5 in the main event. Yeah, what does that come out to? I think that's solid. I think it's very solid. Hooker has no chin anymore. That could be true. Could be very true. But luckily, he's fighting Claudio Puelles. He's fighting Claudio. I mean, is Claudio Puelles going to body kick him to death? I don't know. Maybe some leg kicks. Let's see. He almost KO'd Poirier like 1.5 years ago. Literally, the bell saved him. Boston Nick would pay. There you go. What to get a lot of takedowns? I think Frevola could get takedowns if he wanted to. Frevola could get takedowns. Moicano could get takedowns. Edgar could get takedowns. Petroski could get takedowns. I think those 4. Even Montel Jackson could potentially get takedowns. Hooker will get choked. Maybe his knee could get choked out. Maybe a knee bar there. Olberg, no takedown defense. No, that's not. I mean, it could be true, but I mean, there's no evidence of that, and that's why I don't have a bet on the Olberg fight because I watched every single fight. I just did not see any evidence of his takedown defense. I mean, from what I saw, he has stuff takedowns, but not a ton of them. Will Chandler fight intelligently or not? No, he will not. Nick will KO Olberg. Nikolai will KO Olberg. I mean, maybe. Kennedy Nzechukwu was able to do it. Got 5 units on Izzy early in the week, -170. Beat a ton of line movement. I think I should have pulled the trigger on it. Because there's an easy hedge with that freaking Pereira knockout, which is +350 on FanDuel. But yeah, it was like -160 earlier in the week, -165. Yeah, I wish I would have jumped on. Brady, the 3-legger was Reyes not to go, Weili in the over 1.5 in the main event, +125. Yeah, I think it hits there. Olberg's fight sketchy. I agree with that. It is a sketchy fight. I don't have a bet on that fight. You think Julio Arce is a good dog? We talking DraftKings or betting? I know a lot of people taking the shot on Arce. I'm personally leaning Jackson, but I don't like the line. I don't have a bet on that fight as well. If Puelles wins with strikes, Hooker will replace Ramona Pascual in the #1 spot. Yeah, if Puelles goes out there and outstrikes Hooker across 3 rounds, I don't know what I would do. I think I would just quit at that point. That would just shock me. I mean, I think Puelles could absolutely win by sub, but him outstriking Hooker would just shock me. Absolutely shock me. Hi, Brady. I think Dustin will KO Chandler in the 2nd round. I'm with you there. Chandler be out of gas by the 1st round. Yeah, kind of with you there. I don't know if he'll be completely out of gas, but he's most dangerous in that 1st round. So I like that round too. Phone saying I parlayed Juarez, Ottman, and Petroski finish only. I am going the other way with a Turman sub, but I do like the other 2. They are saying I got 1.25 units on Ottman, a +125. Goodness. Yeah, that was there, what, Sunday? Saturday, Sunday? Then they started getting smashed. Yeah, I mean, now he's a decent-sized favorite, and money just keeps pouring in on Azaitar. I'm not sure what's going on with Frevola. Is it because Frevola's on there on Twitter all week talking about how he's gonna strike with this guy, or is it there's an injury, or I don't know what's going on? But yeah, -163 now for Ottman. So you beat the crap out of the line movement. Yes, I did. I went back and watched both of their fights. And Adesanya did hurt him bad, so we'll see. I think the fight doesn't go in the main event is something I really do like this week. If he didn't beat Izzy twice years ago, the UFC would never be doing this. I agree. They got lucky or paid well for Strickland to stand. Yeah. How do you pick against Izzy with a guy who don't deserve this? I wouldn't say he doesn't. You're right though. I mean, if he didn't beat Izzy twice, like this fight wouldn't be happening. They shot him up the ladder quickly, very quickly. And props to him. I mean, Sean Strickland was a big step up in competition from Michailidis, from Bruno Silva, and he knocked him out in the first round. So does he deserve it? I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, it's a winnable fight. I mean, he has to land a big shot, but puncher's chance. It's a puncher's chance. I think Izzy should win, but he has a ton of power, and he's got to be aware of that. And he is. Minus 167 on Ottman on Barstool. Goodness. Yeah, maybe something is wrong with him. I don't know. I hope he stands at bangs with Ottman, though. Turman wins. I agree. I don't have a ton of confidence in him, but I agree. Not extremely confident in it, though. Chandler fight over 1.5. Not for me personally, but it is a semi-popular play, but it's going to be terrifying. I think it could potentially hit, but just terrifying. Yeah, exactly. I was looking at the rankings on Sunday, and I'm like, okay, nobody in this top 15 is going to beat Izzy anytime soon. I think it would have to be like a Chimaev coming up a weight class and beating him, because outside of that, nobody's beating Adesanya in this top 15. Because he's already beat a lot of these guys. I mean, he beat Vettori twice, he beat Whitaker twice, he beat Brunson. I mean, he's beat all these guys. Brady, do you think Frevola will pull out after event starts? I don't think so. I hope not. I mean, that would be terrible. But we've seen stuff like that happen before. Justin saying, thanks, Brady, you're the man. Let's make some money. Let's make some money, Justin. Appreciate you hanging out. Been a long time no see, Brady. Miss being in the chat. You enjoy the fights tonight. You as well. Who's your top pick? It's Dan Hooker for me. It's Dan Hooker. I could look like an idiot. Boys can go out there and submit him easy, but Hooker should win this fight. If he's not, then he is probably washed and a bum at this point. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see if Dan Hooker is indeed a washed bum, like a lot of people do think. Glover being a coach makes you want to bet on fighters too much. I'm hoping Izzy wins. My girl's crushing on Alex. Goodness, she never cares about MMA and caught her staring at his pics on IG. Oh no. Hopefully Izzy gets it done for you then. Izzy, bro. I like Hooker in this fight as well. Yeah, I like it a lot. Your best prop on the card. I don't have a lot of like best props. Like this is a card where I just have a ton of like plus money sprinkles. Like a ton of plus money sprinkles. So I don't know. I like Gomez by knockout. I like Sungwoo Choi by knockout. I like Azaitar in the first round. I like the Blanchfield fight doesn't go. I like the Reyes Spann under the fight doesn't go to decision. I like the Moicano fight doesn't go to decision. I like the main event fight doesn't go to decision. So lots of violence, lots of like half unit shots, quarter unit shots, and some of these big props, hoping to just hit a couple of them, come out with a winning night. Nothing like too big tonight. I mean, next week there are some spots that are sticking out that might be potential really big bets. But this week, nothing's like really sticking out. Not laying a lot of chalk this week. Staying away from the chalk. I think 16 bets, and I think 12 or 13 of them are plus money. Savannah Gomez Juarez, a good pick. Bet. I went with the knockout prop. I lean that way. But we'll have to see. To sprinkle some Molly via KO or just the Molly KO in general. I mean, it's like plus 900, which is, I mean, I think that's how she wins there. If Hooker loses, does he fight Ferguson next in a see you later fight? Probably not. Is Ferguson still in the UFC? He's on a 5-fight skid, isn't he? Dixon saying, Brady, one of my 14 leggers pays out 57 grand. Hopefully you hit that. That'd be a life-changing hit there. If Hooker is washed, then what is Reyes? I don't think either of them are washed at all. I mean, I think Hooker's 32, and I think Reyes is like 31 or 32. I mean, they're both still I think they both have a lot longer in the UFC. What happened to Miguel Baez? He's fallen off some tough times. I mean, last time we saw him, he got knocked out by Andre Fiallo. I actually was watching that fight today. He got knocked out pretty bad against Fiallo. So swear that's the same guy as Poyas. Yeah, different guys. No hate on Alex, but Izzy's on another level. I respect them both, but trust me, Izzy is a genius. He's a smart fighter, and some people don't like the smart fighters that kind of fight smart, and he fights really smart. He doesn't take risks, and he probably is not going to want to take a lot of risks in this fight. Kana's saying she has cannons in her hands, and I agree with that. She does. All right, 15 more minutes, and then we will peace out of here. Really do appreciate y'all hanging out. Over 400 of you hanging out. Do appreciate every single one of you. If you guys have not already, leave a like. The likes do go a long way. Also, subscribe if you haven't already. You can also follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers. I'm sure I'll be pretty active on the socials tonight. Good talk as always, everyone. Hope you win a bunch of money. Good night. Good luck to you, Shackle, Rusty Ford. Are you buying this pay-per-view? I am. I'm buying it. I think it's well worth it, in my opinion. Alex Pereira for the first round knockout win. I mean, it could happen. He hits like a truck. Sean, where's the rest of the panel? They left about 30 minutes ago. We went through all the fights, and then I wanted to see if Lou wanted to stick around, but he had to go eat some food. Watch it free. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it. It's worth it. Justin saying good luck, Brady. Let's catch up after this bloodbath. Let's do it. Best of luck, Justin. Too expensive. For this car, I don't know. For some cars this year, I'm like, yeah, I'm not interested in really paying $80 for that. But this card, yeah, I like it. I'm fine with paying the $75, $80. Which I miss the days when it's like 64, like a year ago. That was nice, but I think it's like $75, like plus tax, something like that. It's not cheap. Good luck to you as well, Sean. Thoughts on Islam versus Volk? I saw somebody said is that legit? Is that actually happening? Because that's a phenomenal fight. I don't know if it's actually happening though. I would like to see it, but I don't know. I mean, it's a good fight. I mean, Islam versus Volk could be like one of the best fights in a very long time. It's official. Goodness. Okay. I've got Islam. Yeah, Volk's coming up a weight class. He's going to be probably undersized. I think I would lean Islam as well, but man, Volk's no joke. Volk is no joke. Islam will lay on him. It's happening. Well, there you go. Yeah, that fight is something I'm going to have circled then. $40 here in New Zealand. That's not terrible. Islam's big. Yeah, I think size is definitely going to play a factor. I think he should be able to get down Volkanovski. Islam trying to be honest, I'm kind of surprised he's taken that fight. I would think he might want to go out there and maybe fight, I don't know, a Dustin, a Chandler, somebody like that. But no, he's fighting one of the best guys in the UFC in Volk, although Volk is coming weight class. But yeah, I would have liked to see, Islam defend his title against, like a Dustin, a Chandler, one of those guys, a Gaethje. But hey, if he takes the fight, respect to Islam. That's no easy fight. No easy fight. Jamal Hill, is that confirmed as well? Because I saw that Anthony Smith was either going to fight Rakic or Jamal Hill. Which Rakic just got hurt. I think it might be Jamal Hill. Everyone has a chance. That is true. Everybody has a chance. Even Molly McCann, the biggest dog on the card. And yeah, the dude used to be huge. So, still no idea. Volk got out of that. Yeah, I was there live, and I had like a 10 fighter parlay with Volk in it, and then I also had Volk by decision against Ortega. I was there live. Like, I didn't think he was going to get out of it, but he did. I mean, that was super impressive to me. Which one of you guys trust the most today in terms of a bet? I like the violence in the Spann fight a lot. Spann Reyes violence. I like Dan Hooker a lot. I know a lot of people disagree with that one. Other than that, it's a bunch of sprinkles. I like the violence in the Moicano fight. I'm looking for violence. Looking for some violence there. If I hit The prelims, I ordered the pay-per-view. It's Izzy. I'm expecting a cool entrance and a boring fight. I hope not. I hope it's a fun fight. I really do. But I don't know. Maybe this is different. This is an Alex Pereira fight. We'll have to see. Best parlays. Yeah, no parlays for me on this card. What I did do was I parlayed up the Spann Reyes fight doesn't go with Jack Della Maddalena next week. I love Jack Della Maddalena next week. And that came out to like minus 150. I put 1.5 units on it. Didn't really like a lot of parlay pieces on this card. I think that Spann fight doesn't go as a good parlay piece. And I want to say like Blanchfield is, but I don't really feel comfortable laying minus 400 in a women's MMA parlay. Just hasn't been a recipe for success lately. Yeah, I had a bet on Adesanya last time when he fought Cannonier, and I saw that Drake had a big bet. I was terrified, but luckily he got it done. Looking for the draw there in the meatball fight. Be a crazy call. I love this chat. There you go. Volk KOs Islam. I don't know. I kind of lean Islam on that one, but what a great fight. Hooker is a great pick. I hope so. I hope it is. Can't call a man washed up after losing to his list. He deserves respect until Diaz chokes him out. Yeah, I mean, if Puelles submits him, he submits him. As long as Puelles doesn't win a decision, I'll be fine, because I did hedge on the Puelles submission, which is just a ridiculous line. I think that's his win condition, but I think Hooker does win. You're on that split. I think it's plus 1,200 for that split. And I'm on the split in general. I got the split plus 550 for either Gutierrez or Edgar to win by split. I like that. I think it's going to be a close fight if it does go the distance. Volkao's Islam. Yeah, I don't know. If Frank, yeah, it's kind of what I'm worried about. If he's, the durability is definitely in question. And Gutierrez does kick very, very hard. Which fight is the best pick for a draw? The draw, I don't know. I could see like the Olberg fight being a draw, right? Like Olberg winning the first 2 rounds, him gassing out, Negumereanu beating the crap out of him in the 3rd round. I could see something like that. Maybe an Olberg 10-8 first round. The Azaitar, I mean, I could see an Azaitar 10-8 round. Frevola coming back and winning the next 2. Maybe that could be a draw. I think those 2, if anything. About to see. It's the whole unit on the main event draw. There you go. 1 unit to win 66 units. That'd be unbelievable. Islam will finish Volk in the yeah, I think Islam finishes Volk. I think he does. I mean, Ortega was very close to finishing Volk a couple times. And to be fair, he did get out of those positions, but Islam, I think the size is going to be the big difference there. Ratchet thinking just put $100 on Hooker by sub. Brady can sell someone to Islam. I never said Hooker by sub. I don't know what you're talking about, but that Hooker by sub was like plus 2,000 earlier in the week. Somebody hit me up and was like, Hooker by sub, book it. I mean, I don't think so personally, but it's a juicy number. Plus 1,400. Money's been pouring in on that Hooker sub, which is interesting. Carla, Molly, parlay plus 1,400. It wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world, but I doubt it. You can say in first 3 fights, Nick Olberg over 1.5. I agree. Jackson moneyline, I agree. And then Choi moneyline, I agree. Then you play at the winnings. There you go. Yeah, I agree with all of those. I guess the one that would concern me the most would be that Jackson moneyline, but I think he gets it done. Islam's very tough to. It's gonna be very tough to get hit when Volk's on his back. Is the thing. I know Azaitar is a finisher, but I got the over 7.5 minutes. Tristan, you're going to be sweating big time, but would be a big hit. And I think that over might be plus money now, or about a pick 'em, right? Because money has been pouring in on violence all week. So that over is now. Oh, you're still laying juice on it. I don't know. I don't know if I would do that. Minus 115 on Bet Online. Be a sweat. Would be a sweat. James saying it's time. It's almost time. about 5 more minutes, and then we're going to head out of here. Appreciate you stopping by, James. Silvana by KO, or she's getting submitted. Yeah, that's kind of how I see it. My book has Izzy by KO plus Poirier KO parlay plus 850. Okay. I can see both. How does Weili lose? Seems like she's focused a lot on her wrestling lately. How she loses is Carla is able to take her down, is able to control her, and I don't know. It could happen. We don't have a ton of info on Zhang Weili and her takedown defense and her get up game, but what we have seen, to be honest, it hasn't looked great. So I see why people are on Carla, but at some point, I do think this fight's going to be on the feet. And when it's on the feet, it's just not. It's night and day. It's not even close. Like Weili Zhang is the much better striker by a mile. Chandler, Puelles, and then under 4.5 for plus 1100. I like the under 4.5, but I'm on the other side of Chandler and Puelles. What is Brady's choice of munchies for this pay-per-view? Nothing. No snacking for me nowadays. Thank you as well, Daz. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate you as always. Aiken saying, Brady, just wanted to say on behalf of all the subscribers, we appreciate your time and predictions. We know how much you put into this, and we are truly grateful. Appreciate you ton, Aiken. That does mean a lot, man. Bar saying, super pumped for this card. Yeah, me too. Me too. I am as well. Dan Hooker, we trust. Yeah, we'll see you. Is Dan Hooker washed? Is he a bum? We're about to find out. Appreciate you, Ian. So yeah, I guess I'll just get my quick picks, and then we will head out of here. So I will be going with Olberg in the first fight of the night. I'll be taking Montel Jackson. I'll be taking Sungwoo Choi to win by knockout. Silvana Gomez-Juarez to win by knockout. Otman Azaitar to win by knockout. Taking the upset, Wellington Turman, 3rd round submission. Give me Erin Blanchfield by submission. Dominick Reyes by knockout. Moicano by submission. Dan Hooker by knockout. I'm taking the upset with Frankie Edgar with very little confidence, but I think it's a winnable fight. But I'll say Frankie Edgar by decision, hopefully split decision. Give me Dustin Poirier by 2nd round knockout. Give me Zhang Weili by 3rd round knockout. And then give me Adesanya. I'll say a late knockout for Adesanya as well. So I'm hoping for some violence. If there's violence on this card, it'll be a good night for me. If there's not violence, if it's a bunch of decisions, it'll be a terrible night. But I'm hoping for some violence here. Let's make some monies. I agree. No snacks. What about beer? No beer, no snacks for me. Appreciate you, Jason. Yes, thank you, Brady. Thank you. Izzy by Darsh Choke. There we go. King saying King is back. Let's get this money. Let's get it. Tommy's saying good luck. All right, guys. I'm going to head out of here. Thank you so much for hanging out. If you guys have not yet, please be sure to leave a like. Also, subscribe to the channel. We have UFC Vegas 50 or 65 or 66 next week. Derek Lewis, Sergey Spivak. I'm halfway done with that card. Lots of spots sticking out for next card as well. So should be able to get that prediction video out on Monday. So I'm pretty far ahead. Maybe even tomorrow. We'll have to see. You guys can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers. Instagram is DFS by the numbers. I've started to post a ton more content on Instagram. So if you're not following me over there, be sure to do so. And you got any questions, hit me up on there. And yeah, guys, do appreciate all the support. Do appreciate all the likes, all the subscriptions. And best of luck. Enjoy the card. Could potentially be card of the year. I mean, on paper, it's there. It's there. And it has potential. But let's see it play out. Let's hope for a good card. Best of luck, guys. We'll talk to you soon. And let us win some money tonight. See you guys later.